Hello, welcome back to Ruhoni Sewing. I am your host Ruth. Today we are on part 4 of our skirt series. This is a sewing tutorial video. We are going to sew our skirt. Part 1 to part 3 of this series are linked in the description box below. So without further delays, please let us start. These are the materials needed. We have our pattern paper. This is the front and this is the back skirt pattern. We have our curved ruler, pencil, square ruler, tape measure. This is a paper scissors. Here is our fabric and this is a fabric scissor. So here, these are our patterns. We are going to have a shaped waistline and a pencil skirt style. So before we continue, I need to modify or adjust these patterns. So first thing first, let us start by modifying our waistline. Let us draw our waistline. Now let us modify our pattern to pencil skirt pattern. Draw the curves with the aid of the curved ruler as shown. Put the marks which will help when joining these pieces, and now proceed to cut the waistband. So for seam allowance, on the lower waist part I added 0.5 inches, and for the center back I've added 2 inches. 1 to 2 inches are enough for the zipper and slit, but also for the bottom part I've added 1 inch, and as well as for the side seam 1 inch. So for our front pattern again, we have added 0.5 inches at the lower waist part, 1 inch at the side seam, and 1 inch at the bottom. But for our center front, we have added no allowance as it is going to be on fold. For the waistband, first close the darts. For shorter darts like this one at the front, redraw the dart legs. Let me show you here. Leave the same width of the dart, but redraw the legs, elongate them at the end, up to the end of the pattern as shown. Now with your scissor, cut all the way but not through. Leave a very tiny space. Close the dart as shown here. Put a sellotape to close. Then after that, take care of these corners here by redrawing the pattern. So here are the waistband patterns with the added seam allowance. Now for our front pattern, you see the folding of the fabric. So now place your pattern. Like this. Make sure the fold line is on the fold. Secure your pattern with pins and proceed to cut the fabric. Now to the back pattern. Remember we left this allowance for the zipper as well as for the slit. Now place it on top of your fabric and proceed to cut the fabric. Now for our fabric, we have our back and front, 2 pieces for the front as you can see, and also 2 pieces, that is 4 for our back. We will add lining from the lower waist to the bottom. Remember these marks that we had put on our belt as well as on our lower part of the skirt. Now transfer them to the fabric just as shown. Now it is time to attach the belt and the skirt. So take out the pins. So remember, right sides are facing each other, and start by joining these two fabric by attaching the pins. Then start to sew exactly like shown here. Remember to double stitch at the end. So here we are with our back piece, and this is our front piece. So for our waistband, we need to add the interface. This is the inside of the interface. Where it glitters is where it sticks to the fabric. And with our front pattern, we are going to cut it on fold. But for our back pattern, we will leave the allowance and cut from the center back line. Now let us cut our pieces. So the next step, we are going to get rid of all the seam allowances and remain with only the center part of this belt. We want to avoid the material to become too thick when joining together. So now let us trim the allowances. I'm only showing you here how it can be done, but you can do this from the beginning when you are cutting the interface. Now attach it to the fabric and start to iron, making sure the side with the glue is the one facing downwards. After that, sew at the top of this seam. So here it's the front and back pieces of our skirt. Here I'm reducing the center back to 1 inch. Then I installed the zipper as shown. Then after that, I added the remaining of the waistband pieces. Remember, we had double pieces for both front and back. So I added them at the top, as you can see here. And now I want to iron the seam so that to flatten it. So you do both for the back as well as for the front. Continue to iron. As you can remember, our waistline is a bit curved. If you remember our pattern, you can see here it is a bit curved at the top. So make slight incision to open the curve and flatten the seam. So again, before you continue, make sure that the zipper is well done as shown here. After that, I added the lining, as you can see. Now turn it upside down like this, making sure that they align well, and then start to pin the two pieces of material. Make sure they align well here at the belt. After aligning the belt and the lining with the skirt, now we are going to sew beside the zipper from the top up to the end of our zipper. So you see, we have sewn up to the end of the zipper. Now turn it inside out. Use your thumb to overturn, and this is how it looks from inside. Okay, so that is how it will look at the zipper side, and this is how it will look outside. Okay, now let us continue. After installing the zipper, and we have already sewn up to here where there is a slit. Okay, let us now leave it for now, and let us now join the lining from the end of our zipper here all the way through. So here we are, it is done. One thing that I want to remind you is the lining has to be shorter, just up above the slit. As you can see, we are going to hem this lining, and after that it will be just slightly above the slit. This is the back piece of the skirt, and here is the front piece of the skirt. Right side facing each other. Place it at the top of the back piece, making sure that they align well here at the waist on this side, as well as on the other side too. So next step, let me move it a bit closer. Now we are going to attach the side seam. This is our front and this is our back. You see, like that. We are going now, as you can see, you see this part is the lining and this is the part of the skirt. So we take these two parts of the skirt together, okay, and we take this part, the lining part of the front, we turn it upside down, and we are going to align it with the part of the skirt of the lining of the back. So on closer look, you see that is our waist, and this other side is the side of our skirt, okay, you remember the interface, and this other side is the side of the lining. As you can see, it is shorter. So we are going to attach with pins. So now attach with pins up to the end on either side of the skirt. So here we are. Now sew 1 inch seam all the way. Okay, we are done now. As you can see, this is where our waist is. Okay, now if you turn, okay, if you turn it, that's how your waist is going to look like that. But first, let us make the seam flat. Okay, we have to open the seam just like this. Okay, so when you open and you turn it inside out, it is going to look like this. Okay, from outside it will look like this. Now this is our waistband. So here we are. This now is our belt as it seems from inside. So let's first iron the seam so that they can lay flat. You need to open them while ironing. Our skirt is almost over. This is how it will look when you open your zipper from inside. The belt will look like this. Okay. So our waistband is done. We are almost there. Now let us take care of the slit. This slit is going to be open. On my right side, it will lie flat, but the piece on my left, it will lie on top of the right, but it is going to be on fold. Okay, but first let us overlock our skirt and hem the lining. So here we are done with the hemming of the lining. We have already prepared our skirt for hemming, as you can see. Remember, this is the part which is folded, and this other one is the one which is going to lie flat like this. But you see the overlocking stitch, so if we leave it like this, it will be seen from outside. So before we take care of the slit, we have to fold a very narrow hem, just like this, all the way from the end of the slit up to the hem. So next step, here is the end of our slit. Make sure you have double stitched this area. Now take the folded part, this part here, and place it on top of the other and make a stitch. Okay, now we are done with our slit. This is how it is going to look from outside. Okay, now next we have to hem our skirt. As you can see, we have already prepared it and we are going to hem it by hand. I have already started to hem and I do not want the stitch to be seen from outside. So when you are hemming or when you are stitching, make sure you just take a single thread. Okay, just like that, a single thread, so that when you turn it, you cannot see the stitch from outside. Okay. Okay, so our skirt is ready. Here is our belt, but I need also to add a hook. I don't have it here. I will have to buy it. We have our zipper. Here is our slit, and we've come to the end of our skirt tutorial. Please let us meet again for other tutorials.